Good afternoon, guys. Okay, it's almost afternoon. Few minutes to 12. Good afternoon. My name is Onyekachi Umendu, and you're welcome once again to our having conversation around the COVID-19. How you guys doing? Our guest is online. Today we are going to be having a conversation around how the digitalization of citizen can help in Nigeria, especially in times like this. We have our guest who is going to be joining us from UK, Mr. King Femi. He's going to be discussing around this topic and, of course, giving us breakdown into how this thing can be um, effective in Nigeria. So I'm going to be adding him in a bit. So please, guys, if you have questions and comments, do well to drop in the comment section so that as soon as we are done, we can begin to pick on some of these questions to answer. All right, so let me quickly get him on. All right. All right, so join us. All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing, sir?
Kachi, I'm really, really good. Really, really
Yeah,
good.
welcome. It's good to have you.
Good to have you too. Good to have you as well.
So
Yeah.
how are you coping with this lockdown and all?
Basically it's been a mixture of a lot of things. Well, having number one, I would say yes, having opportunity to work from home
Yeah,
and also opportunity to also um, look after my baby as well,
well,
support, at the family wise as well.
yeah,
But also, an opportunity also to reflect and just learn something new. Just opportunity for me to learn, that's the
yeah,
another biggest thing for me.
yeah,
And, just looking into the future and reflecting and also having this post-pandemic plan,
yeah. It's
just
very
the moment
important.
we're told now it's time to go back to normal life. We
Yeah,
just want to ensure that we just join and run with it and start getting active. Yeah.
yeah. I sincerely think that it's important that people begin to plan
Yep.
towards because it's not going to come easy. It's going to
Yep.
be a little difficult. So whatever plans that people put in place at this point in time will determine how well they are going to survive the post
Yep.
pandemic. Well, let's just get into it. And I'm sure what we are discussing today is part of course, we know digitalization and how if we can integrate all of those things to our daily life and make plans for the years ahead, for the things ahead, it will always help us. So, what is digitalization to begin with?
Okay, so basically, I think that's a very, very good question, and thank you for starting with that. So basically, digitalization is a process of employing or using digital technologies, yeah, to create a new business model or to
Yeah,
generate revenue or also to make a change. So in
yeah,
terms of the business settings, that's what it actually means in a way. And I'll give you an example. For instance, so that banking services now is moved from you just walking into the bank and
yeah,
cashing in money. You can do that using your mobile devices. You can check your
yeah,
balance. So now banking are using these digital technologies to provide services to people regardless of wherever they are or any platform.
yeah,
So it's very important that it's a tool. It's about employing digital technologies to deliver services in terms of citizen wise. Now in terms of government, e-government, it's about using digital technologies to deliver services to the citizens.
yeah,
And what I mean deliver services is in such a way that the citizen can relate with it. It's very,
yeah,
very important. It's not just creating a website and putting some terms and jargons that people will not be able to understand, but it's
yeah,
about creating or using digital technologies to develop services, for people, and society can relate with it. They can have communication without having to physically, go into offices or, going to all these
Yeah.
government, what's it called, offices in a way.
Yeah.
So it's about providing these digital services that people can relate with, access services, and, for their benefits, the benefits of society.
So the concept of what's it called? Citizens digitalization is something I'm very, very interested in. I want you to give us like a breakdown of what this really means.
Okay, so basically, like you said, when we talked about digitalization, so it's in two folds, and we've talked about how businesses are using it, and I'm
Yeah.
sure we all kind of have an understanding of that. But we
Yeah.
want to focus on how government can use all these digital technologies for the benefit of citizens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, the citizen are the one that request for these services, or let's say they needed these services. So for instance, if someone I want to register for national identity number,
Yeah.
I don't literally need to leave my house, to do that. As a citizen, I should be able to go online and put
Yeah.
all my details, everything
Yeah.
that you require, and put it
Yeah.
at least at the first stage,
Yeah.
do that. And if peradventure they will need me to do an interview face to face, because obviously for
Yeah.
identity's sake,
Yeah.
then I could now be, then I can now be invited to
Yeah.
attend an interview. But in a situation whereby, say for instance, again, if you have your national passport, national, international passport, so let's say Nigerian passport now,
Yeah.
with your number, you should be able to enroll freely, even without having to attend an interview. So this is
Yeah.
just one of the examples whereby governments create platforms using digital technologies for citizen communities to access these services for their benefit at a convenient time.
Yeah.
I was reading something this morning about the national identification management, or the body that is responsible in Nigeria,
Yeah.
and they said they have suspended the registration of let me just see now, National Identity Management Commission, yeah,
Yeah.
NIMC,
MC.
and they
MC.
said they've suspended the registration of NIMN. And I'm thinking, why do they have to do that? This is even the best time, because remember, most people are not able to enroll
Yeah.
when, during the working, on a normal day, not during the working hours anyway, on a normal day. But due to this pandemic, they should be able to continue the registration. People should be able to register online. Verification can happen later on. The same thing if we look at the voters registration as well. Many people were unable to register because they have to go to work because of the business schedule. This
Yeah.
is the opportunity for government to open that again, not creating a centers, but where people can go online and apply. So I'm trying to break this down for us, that the digitalization is about how governments can use digital technologies, platforms, to allow people to access services in an easier way, and even for their own what's it called, quick turnover as well.
Yeah.
For instance, I'll give you another example. The National Identity Management Commission only have 6 centers. So which means the way they operate, you have to actually work in, here we
Of
call it
course.
working centers.
Yeah.
That is not effective. People are going to go back to work. People are going to prioritize their daily living or daily bread over, registering for something that they know that it would take the whole day or even a week. Government should be using digital technologies to allow people to access services quicker, faster, easier, in a way that is very understandable, and it will be beneficial as well.
Well, the thing is, if you have to go to NIMS's office to register, for example, I'm telling you this because 4 years ago was when I registered. I had to shut down everything I'm doing for that day because
Yeah,
I need to register. So,
yeah,
the other time we talked about data, how to use data in this time,
yeah,
and for many reasons, we know we have a disjointed form of data collection in
yes,
Nigeria. From the angle you're coming, I think it's very important if the government can look into this and find a way to really use this period where people are sitting in their houses, not just watching TV, not just reading books, but also being able to gather data. Because the moment we have a disjointed data, it becomes a challenge for us to even effectively, what's it called now? Cushion the
Render
effect of
service.
this pandemic. Yeah, and we
Yes.
cannot even render some of these services online because governments are not thinking in that direction. And in nations where technology is beginning to drive a lot of the things that they do, a
Yes.
lot of them understand this concept of citizen digitalization, and is making a lot of work very easy
Yeah.
for them. So let's look at the impact and the effect of digitalization as regards this
Okay.
COVID-19. Yeah,
Now, I mean, one of the buzzword that you've been hearing on the media in Nigeria is government providing palliatives,
yeah,
palliatives, palliatives. And
yeah,
then for myself, to be honest with you, I have to go and Google this palliative. What does it mean? And basically, palliative is a word or is a term used in the medical field. It's a kind of a medication that you give to somebody to relieve them of a pain or of a sickness
yeah,
temporarily.
yeah,
It doesn't address all the sick or the symptoms that this person is what's it called now, that is exhibiting. It doesn't solve the problem. So you can see, I was like, wow. So now everybody is shouting, even in the media, oh, this palliative should go out, this palliative should go around. So what's happening now is this: government doesn't have a database of people
yeah,
that actually needs help.
yeah, yeah,
This palliative that they're shouting, everybody, we haven't received palliative, we haven't received help. Government doesn't have a database. What should have happened before this time, or even now, is that government should have a record, a database of the citizen who are working, who are not working, who is operating a roadside business, or it doesn't really matter if you have a business or not, so that in a situation whereby you are not financially capable, government will look at how much you've contributed in your business. It doesn't really
yeah,
matter, even if it's 5,000 naira. It doesn't really matter. What
yeah,
really matters is that you are contributing something. Maybe out of that 5,000 that you generate in a year or in a month, you're only remitting 500 to government.
yeah,
Government will take you as a priority because you're registered, you're on a record. They have a record of you contributing something. And even if you're not generating any income, government will know that, oh, this person has registered, and this person will know this person hasn't generated income in the last 1 year or 5 years. But
yeah,
what we are having right now is that everybody is saying they need help, whether they have a business, whether they don't
or
have a
not.
business, and government is just pumping in billions and billions without taking something back.
Yeah,
Now, do you know that with these palliatives that we were talking about, people are getting all this stuff, but government is not getting data.
yeah,
So now
yeah,
people will say, what have you done with the money? Government can account that this
yeah,
is what we have done with it. How many people, were assisted in each local government?
yeah,
There is no record. There will be, I'm sure there's not going to be record.
yeah,
And it's very sad that it was the way we structure things in
yeah,
Nigeria. At the federal level, it seems to be like we have a structure, we know what we're doing, we have a mission, the vision, and the objectives of what we want to achieve. At the state level, yes, there is kind of a structure. But when it comes to the local governments, the governments are not cascading the mission of this thing and using the local government or the local authorities to gather this data
yeah,
to say everyone that needs to access this we need to get this data, A, B, C, D, their age, where they live. Can you imagine what would have happened? How much data would have generated as a result of this pandemic and the
yeah,
palliative that government is giving out?
yeah.
Again, it helps government to be more accountable. Then it makes
Absolutely.
even the local government and even the what's it called now, the citizen also to say that, oh, in my area, 60 people, 100, 500, were able, to benefit from this. But if you go online, there is no, apart from the figures, the amount that was given out, or maybe 10 bags of rice or whatever, or 100, how many people actually benefited? Because there was no structure, there was no ultimate outcome as to what do we want to achieve from this. And the most important outcome from this pandemic relief is the data that you gather. Very, very important. I'm gonna, if you permit me, I would digress a little bit. One of the greatest work that King Oguremi Foundation is doing is that when you want to do your projects, you do due diligence, you conduct a research. If you're targeting 200 people, 100 people, you already know those people. So when you're rendering that service on that day, you already know who you are dealing with. Because if you say you want to help 200, and then you announce to the whole community, and then 1,000 shows up on that day, how do you want to render that service? At the end of the day, people will be saying, like, we can, even you maybe it's not easy to account. Therefore, government as well needs to do more in terms of accountability of data. They should get that data. People want help, then they need to give back as well. But they need to make it very easy as well. In gathering this data, it shouldn't be something that will take 1 hour, 2 hours, and use the local authority, the local government, to ensure that they capture this data and it reflects the good work that the government is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I had a guest a few days ago, and we talked extensively on data. And he mentioned to me that it's not like Nigeria do not have data, but we have disjointed data. Now, for example, we have the Census Commission, we have the people who are gathering data for voters card, we have people, NIMSI, of course, for NIN, we have all sorts, even the bank verification number, BVN, we have all of those, even down to a passport office where you go to enroll for passport. So you see that there are various segments of our society where we are being asked to fill a form, where we are being asked to put in data. But the question is, a lot of time we don't get to see the effect of that when we come into situations like this. Because for me, I've been trying to wrap my head around the fact that even the NEPA, for example, the electric people, they have data. Somebody brought the bill to us 2 days ago for NEPA bill, and I'm like, okay, we're on a lockdown. You could bring a bill to my house, and government cannot send you to bring me something to cushion the effect. So there are data. Now, if, for example, there's election and they want to get voters material to this local government, to these villages, they do it. So it shows that there's something, but because of the system, how corrupt the system is, a lot of time they don't want to synchronize this data together, because I'm sure if you are into digitalization, you know that is about, okay, if, for example, you have data from BVN, you have data from voters card, you have data from IN. If you bring this data together, you can sort duplicate data, and you now have a very comprehensive data down. You can now use to help the people in times like this. So for me, it's really been something that I don't know how it's working over there where you guys are, but for us here, it's really been a challenge. So if you can throw more light for us, how does this thing, how effective is it for you guys living in the UK?
Okay, thank you very much, King Kachi. I think what you've just said is very important. You talked about synchronization of data. In the technology terms, we say integration. So integrating the platform, integration of data. I'm telling you, this is already working in Nigeria, again, in the banking sector. For instance, you can transfer money from GT to First Bank, and it's very, it's working. Now, let's bring it down to Western world, or let's say in the UK to be precise. I'm so concerned about, okay, let's say for every citizen, from the age of, number one, from birth, your data is recorded. Your birth certificate has a number. If you lose that birth certificate, you can recall it anytime, any day. I've seen a situation whereby somebody is about over 55. She has never, she can't even find her birth certificate, and she doesn't even know where it was and everything. And she went to the local council and said, I want to get my birth certificate. And they record that birth certificate within a day.
Yeah.
So it is about capturing data from the start. From when a baby is born, there is a data that the birth certificate should have a number, a unique identification number, that anywhere that citizen goes in any part of Nigeria, when you go to hospital, that number is entered, it generates the profile of that person. So that's one thing. Now let's take it to the business aspect, or let's take it to the financial or the economic aspects of the country. Everyone in the country over the age of 18 must have, well, here we call it national insurance number. So the national insurance number is a number that identifies you, number one, as a citizen, that is, a number that helps, that allows government to track your economic activity, whether you are contributing, whether you will need a support, whether about maybe in a later years you're going to claim pension. So that number is useful, whether you're operating your own business or everybody as a citizen have that number. So what it does is that it helps the government to help the citizen. How? If you're working, let's say I'm working and I'm paying my tax, because through that number government is able to get income, tax is being generated, and
Yeah.
this number is obviously shared with every government services, so they know. So it's, if I want to register my business with the organization that deals with registering business, we call it company house, I need to put that number. Everything is linked together. So if at the point I don't have job again, I don't have an income, the Department of Benefits, work and pensions, will help me, because they know that I'm on record. I can't just walk in there and say, I need help, give me money. No, you must be on the record. When you are on government record, whether you're claiming, whether they are not helping you, it helps you either way, and it helps the government as well.
Yeah.
There are a lot of ways that government in Nigeria is losing out money. Take, for example, we have a lot of small businesses, side road businesses, that are supposed to be registered. Like I said, it doesn't matter even if it's 50 naira or 100 naira that you're contributing to government every month. It goes a long way. And also maybe a time when that business is not making any profit, you're not making any income. It generates benefit to you, because you can go to your local government and say, you know what, business is not moving. You can see from my account, because your account is now linked. They can see from your statement that nothing has come in.
Yeah.
But what we're creating, in Nigeria, is a system whereby it's not integrated. We allow people to just take a mic in a way, and even government as well. But in a system whereby things are well organized, I'm telling you, it works by getting that data, by telling you, nobody's going to force you to work, but at least you must have that data, because either way, you're going to want to access services from the government.
Yeah.
Even if you don't need it now, 2 years time, 3 years time, you'll be surprised. You need to be on a record. I have, I'll give you a very good one, an example. I have a friend right now in Nigeria. He's left, he's, kind of relocated to Nigeria. Sometimes ago, he received a letter from tax revenue to say that he has overpaid tax, and then they are paying him back a tax worth about £600. He's not in the country. They're telling him, because a system that works,
Oh, okay.
it's for processing. Can you imagine? And I'm telling you, they will give him that money. But if you have a system whereby people just do what they like, government doesn't have a record. Even if I'm doing well, I will say, government, oh, you haven't, fed me, or I'm not seeing anything, I'm not getting your help. And then even when also you're doing well as well, and you need to now enjoy the government, let's take it down from our, pensioners who has contributed a lot.
So much, yeah.
And then government still expect them to queue to get what
Pension.
they have earned from that. Is just a total waste of of their years of service.
Yeah.
That is not
Yeah.
a system that works.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is that, the digitalization of e-government benefits the government, benefit the local authority, benefit the citizen when this data are used wisely, and they even educate people as well that this is the benefits. I mean, I know like what you're saying, not like you tell me to register today and then after 2 years you want me to start the process again. It doesn't encourage me. It means you're not serious. I'll give you this maybe before I go to your next question. Banks, okay, I cannot access any loan from any banks in Nigeria unless I'm a bank customer. And banking, all the bank financial services in Nigeria, they are accountable to every customers. They know how many customers they have. They know how many people that are left to move to another bank. So how come the government doesn't want to have a record of their citizen, especially from the age of 16, and be accountable to every citizen from their number? It's sad. You need to take a cue from the bank. I cannot go to Wema Bank or GT Bank and say, give me money. They will check the record. If you don't have any record, if you've not been active, if you haven't put anything in, you can't get anything back. So it's very, very important that when we say that digitalization of services in Nigeria for the benefit of the citizen, it's a win-win situation for the government and for the citizen. Very, very important. Very, very important.
I'm very, very happy with this conversation and the direction it's going. Now, you see, you mentioned the issue of how this thing can benefit both the citizen and the government. You know, for us, I wouldn't say people don't pay tax in Nigeria. There are people who pay, especially for those government workers who this tax is being deducted from source.
Yes.
You know, but a lot of small businesses, a lot of even big businesses, a lot of these guys, these big shops, a lot of them don't pay tax. Rather, what they do is bribe. Now, so it's they bribe their way out because they know because of how big their businesses is, they are supposed to pay like huge amount of tax. And the reason why this tax is good is to help us as a nation, help us grow as a nation. But the moment you stop paying that tax and then you are bribing your way through it, there are people in this system who are supposed to who are supposed to stand their ground and say, oh, guy, you have to pay. But the moment they don't do that, now we suffer. The government loses money. The citizens suffer because, one, we don't get the basic amenities. In times like where people are locked down, where people are supposed to be in their houses, there is no light. Even if there is no light, data now is not expensive. We take advantage of situations like this because we know that now even little or no activities are going on. But when the people who are supposed to make investments in the nation, who are supposed to buy the little thing that they make, are supposed to give back, in times like you're supposed to get something in return. Now, you gave an instance of your friend who relocated and could still get something in return.
Yes.
Now he's not in the UK, but he could get. Why? Because there's already a system that captured his data. Now we look at it from birth, for example. I know in the Western world, when a child is giving birth to, there's always a system of capturing data. For me here, if I lose my birth certificate, the worst I can do, the highest I can do is to go to local government and swear an affidavit and make another birth certificate. And most time it's like it's not even a birth certificate. You know, as the case were. So I can do age reduction because now, because of how bad the system is, somebody wants to get a job, for example, they will give you age limit to say you have to be between the ages of 21 and 27. Now, somebody who is qualified for that job, even with his birth certificate, goes to a court and swear an affidavit and say he's 22.
Yeah.
You see how bad the system is, because as much as this thing happened, is because of our inability to integrate this data from all of these sources that we begin to gather data, is where we have this problem. Because look at it from this angle. What if I go to a court and the court now say, you lost your whatever, and they key into their system to look at when this guy, the court should be able to identify if truly you are this age or not. But because they're going to make money from that, they quickly do it for you, and in less than 5 minutes you already have another birth certificate stamp from the law court. So you see how the system is corrupt. So a lot of time I'm thinking how this thing can work in Nigeria. As much as I know it's something that is possible, we need to just overhaul the system. I know there are IT professionals who work with the government. I know there are guys who are experts, tech experts. I know guys who could do this. But one thing I just keep wondering, is it that they don't tell the government, or they tell the government and the government don't want to do it because they know it's a bad system that brings in corruption? It's a bad system that helps them steal money. It's a bad system that helps them loot money. You know, because all of these things are a lot of things that we've talked about over and over. And a lot of time talking about this problem is something that it really gives me a lot of headache, because I'm passionate about Nigeria. I'm passionate about wanting to see people become a lot more effective in the things that they do. But when the system is not enabling for us, it frustrates a lot of people. Now, I spoke to a friend of mine this morning, and she's in Australia, and she told me that she does not have any intention of coming back to Nigeria. She lived in Nigeria for a while, and she doesn't have, because she told me point blank that she's happy she's in Australia when this pandemic broke out, because of the kind of thing that the government is doing to them, the kind of benefit that they are getting, which a lot of us are not getting. Now, of course, we are a part of King Ogberemi Foundation. Now we are now looking at how do we raise money to support these widows who we are supposed to have a project for in May. We're now looking for how to raise money to support them, because the government truly is not helping them. The government truly is not looking out for them. So what with the concept of integration of citizen, what's it called now? Digitalization. You know, a lot of people started working remotely from home. I don't know. I know you're working from home. How has it been? You know, because if the system is effective, I'm sure after this whole pandemic, a lot of people are going to lose their job. I know for the Western world, there's always an insurance policy that helps them get something to get a job. But for us here, there's nothing like that. So throw more light on this for me.
Okay. Basically, it's not, okay, I will tell you, like, obviously, most organizations, I would say most, because I don't have the actual figures now, are working remotely. But some cannot work remotely. I would say from my organization's perspective, it's easier. It's kind of easier for us because we moved from server-based technology to cloud last year, April. We didn't even know that this was going to happen. So the server service is what allows you to access maybe email server, access data, you know, and it's installed within your premises. So everything is I'm sure you must have heard, familiar with the word server room. It allows you to have access to your service. Now that we transition, or I would say we migrate from this the server-based architecture or last year to cloud. So which means we're just operating, but the infrastructures that allows us to work as an organization is not based physically on site. If that was the situation where we find ourselves, if we didn't migrate, then it would be very expensive for us to be working from home. So it's going to be very expensive because you have to configure something called VPN, you know, on the system. Everybody needs to have laptop. So all your staff needs to have laptop. It's very slow and it's expensive. So basically, it was easier. So most organizations are moving towards cloud. The cloud service is what is now kind of something that is very interesting now, and is helping most organizations, especially during this pandemic. It helps them a lot because I don't need to even have laptop from my work. I can use laptop from my own laptop. All I need to do is just a platform, just a web service, log in, and then I'm using my internet, even helping the organization. I'm not using, you understand? And you can do that. So basically, but in Nigeria, I know this is not the same story for everyone. However, again, private institutions in Nigeria are more effective and more innovative. I was speaking to a very close family member. They teach in a private school, and I was told that they're doing online teaching using Google's Classroom.
Yeah.
You can imagine. So private institutions, they know that they need to be effective because they know that these children needs to continue learning. Exams are
Yeah.
coming, and children
Yeah.
and parents are paying for a service.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
need to deliver a service. When government have a service oriented,
Mindset. Yeah.
they will change the approach on how they deliver the service. When
Yeah.
they don't have a service oriented, they just think about, oh, just do whatever they like. It's not going to work. Why is private institutions or private schools delivering services? Even though they know that, obviously, yes, it's going to be expensive, but they know they must deliver a service. At least they're
Yeah.
trying. So the
Yeah.
same way as well, what this allows us to do, or this situation that we find ourselves, this pandemic, is to help organizations, individuals to be innovative and be dynamic.
Yeah.
I mean, we're having this conversation now. It's possible as a result of the technology that we have,
Yeah.
on our fingertips. So
Yeah.
we're thinking about how can we be innovative, creative, dynamic, even though there are challenges. There are challenges of, okay, even data and everything. Even but with a little, how can we still be innovative, creative, effective, and be productive? So right now, for government, for individual, there is no excuse. One of the key things that I said I was going to give as a takeaway, going to be viewing this or watch this later. For instance, last week NAFDAC was saying that there is high demand in chloroquine. Do you know that NAFDAC has got something called, I put it down here, they have something called recall and safety alert, which means if you want to check fake chloroquine, you need to check NAFDAC websites. Most people are supposed to be visiting NAFDAC website now, but most of us Nigerian citizens are not. We are on Instablog. I was checking top most visited websites in Nigeria, YouTube, Google, Bet Niger. Can you imagine? Bet Niger. People are not going to NAFDAC websites. And recently, I think this week, they released series of chloroquine, organization that are selling this falsified chloroquine, so medication. So people need to take advantage of this as well. They need to prioritize your health. What is the government saying? What is NAFDAC saying? I know that sometimes maybe they need a platform, or wherever, but people need to prioritize and see what is available as well, especially in terms of health, and prioritize that what I want to buy for my family is the right thing. And if this service is not available, then they can, call on NAFDAC and say, please make this available. So it's very important that this thing is a win-win situation, that we take advantage of what is available right now and also hope for what will be available in the future, and also communicate to government to say, can you make this available? Can you even pilot this? Can you test run this? Let's see whether it will work. And together, both the citizen and the government can benefit from this digitalization of services. Very, very important. And I said at the end of before we finish today's discussion, I will send that link, record an alert, so that people can see, people can check it very well. This information are there, so people need to use that as well for their own benefit, especially at this time of pandemic, that they are not buying fake chloroquine. They're buying something that is authorized, genuine, that is, will not cause any damage to their health.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of these things are as a result of bad system. I see no reason why somebody in the same mind will want to sell fake drug to somebody. What is your intention, to kill the person? What is your
Yeah,
intention? So it's a result of the bad system. As much as they want to be in business, do I need to? Because technically, that is blood money. If you're making a lot of money, that is
yeah,
because they're killing people to make money. So you don't have to be a
yeah,
ritualist to say you're making money. Thank you
yeah,
very much, Mr. King Femi, for coming on our show today.
yeah,
It's been an interesting conversation. Really, I had a better insight into what they mean by digitalization of citizen right now. Because before I was just like, when the topic came, I was like, okay, let's see. But for you coming on and breaking it down is something that I'm really
yeah.
grateful for. Thank you, and I'm sure our audience have also learned a thing or two. So going forward, your final word post COVID.
Okay.
Um,
My final word is let's encourage e-governments. digitalization of government services for the benefits of our citizen. Very, very important. Number two, let us make use of this information that is provided. There is no point. This data, is there for us to benefit and even to contribute. If something that needs to be done, you can email maybe the support group, at least somebody will pick that up. Let's help the government by communicating. It's a two-way thing. And then finally is safety, safety, safety. Check, verify. Very, very important. Google is your friend. Social media is your friend. Verify whatever services that you've been offered. One of the things that National Identity Management was saying is that people shouldn't just put their data online. I've seen a lot of things going on social media. People will say, drop your accounts, and people are dropping their account, their name and everything. People need to be aware that they also have a responsibility to safeguard their information. Even though, yes, the social media is where the technologies are there, but it doesn't mean you should lose your sense. Use it for your benefit and use it well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming on. When we have
thank you for the opportunity
again, I'm definitely going to reach out to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So everyone viewing us, this video is going to be uploaded on YouTube. In case you want to watch over, it's going to be uploaded for you to watch again. So in overview, like trying to summarize all he said, digitalization and this integration also is something that has helped us. A lot of people are working remotely right now. Working from home is a result of digitalization. Of course, this IG Live we're doing is as a result of digitalization. Facebook Live, a lot of churches are holding their services online right now because of digitalization, and we know that this has to do with people and individuals. So these are part of what we have been able to experience and appreciate technology for. Now, most importantly, Zoom now I think is the most used app for video and conference meetings right now, because these are people who are innovative and are thinking forward. So for us as a people, post COVID-19, we must begin to also think forward. We must begin to think about how tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Femi, for that link. I'm grateful. We're going to check it out. So looking forward, we must use the time to create and innovate, so that when we are done, when all of this pandemic season is over, we can begin to make our life really count and make a lot more impact in the lives of other people and the lives of people around us. Thank you very much, guys. My name is Onyekachi Umendu, and when we are going to have the next conversation, I'm going to alert you guys. Thank you very much, and God bless you.